Celeb chef and lifestyle queen Joanna Gaines is coming for Blake Lively's reputation in a big way. This lady just dropped some video proof of Blake Lively harassing her.
My mom and I were staying at Hotel 1928 in Waco, Texas this weekend. Blake Lively and her team were staying there as well after South by Southwest in Austin on Friday night. We found this out from all the hotel staff.
What's really going on between these two A-listers? You won't believe what's been caught on camera, and trust, this is about to get messy. Blake and Joanna got wrapped up in some drama, and honestly, it got many people shook. Many had no clue that the two even knew each other. But we only found out after this whole mess with Kaitlyn, who was staying at Joanna's hotel in Waco, Texas, Hotel 1928. Now, if you don't know, Blake was in town for South by Southwest. But instead of staying close to the event, she checked into this hotel like an hour and a half away. Weird, right? Turns out she might have been meeting up with Joanna for some business stuff. Meanwhile, Kaitlyn, who I've talked about before, was just there for a weekend trip, nothing to do with South by Southwest at all. She's a huge fan of Chip and Joanna, and staying at the hotel was on her bucket list, so she went for it. She wasn't even trying to be a content creator or anything, just a fan. But then, bam! She finds out Blake Lively is staying there too. And y'all, Blake was acting super loud, walking through the lobby like she owned the place. So Kaitlyn, being the fan she is, starts filming for a quick glimpse of her fave celeb.
Ended up recording her coming into the hotel lobby. We were just hanging out, people watching. Her team caught wind of this, I believe. Maybe saw me recording her on the security camera, did not like this. Thought maybe I recorded something they didn't want out there, didn't want me to see, whatever. Next morning, we kind of were being followed by her security guard a little bit on the way out, checking out of the hotel. Blake Lively herself comes out, starts recording us, says hi to get us to look up at her, circles our car, gets the car information, license plates, all that. Online harassment started the next day. Her lawyer, her social media person, her nanny were looking at my stories. They ended up making troll accounts, and someone called me fat. Long versions are on here if you want them.
But then things take a weird turn. Blake notices Kaitlyn filming, and next thing you know, Blake starts circling her car and filming her license plate. Creepy, right? Kaitlyn was so thrown off, she even shared the whole weird experience on her social media. The story blew up and people were starting to show up in her stories, including Blake's hotel manager, her social media team, and even her nanny. It's like Blake sent the whole squad after Kaitlyn. And that's not even the weirdest part. People were literally trolling Kaitlyn online, calling her fat and leaving creepy comments. So fast forward, and now the gossip is swirling that Blake and Joanna are in a full-blown feud over some hotel security fiasco. Apparently, Blake's upset because the hotel didn't make her feel like a VIP, and honestly, she's being called out for being loud and dramatic. Someone even said she was acting like she was at Buckingham Palace. Not a good look for Blake. People are starting to see through her privacy act, especially since she had no problem filming Kaitlyn. Some folks are even saying she's trying to control the narrative. And after all this, we just gotta wonder, how long can Blake keep dodging this heat? Drama is following her like a shadow. But let's get into the whole thing with Joanna. Joanna and Blake, y'all. What started as a mutual admiration society between Blake and Joanna has reportedly turned into a full-blown feud. These two were once singing each other's praises, but after a messy incident at Joanna's fancy hotel, things have taken a dramatic turn. Blake has always been a fan of Joanna's home design empire. Back in 2016, she even admitted to exchanging texts and creative ideas with the fixer-upper queen herself. They were even spotted hanging out in NYC last fall, making fans wonder if a collab was in the works. But that's looking real unlikely now. It all went left when Blake checked into Hotel 1928 while promoting her new film, Another Simple Favor. Now, we all know Blake loves her privacy, but apparently the hotel staff didn't get the memo. As we've heard already, things popped off when Kaitlyn Cooper spotted Blake in the lobby. Blake was acting real entitled, saying stuff like, there was no red carpet, no closed-off floor. She walked through the lobby like everyone else. If she wanted privacy, she sure didn't act like it. Joanna and her crew are not here for Blake's diva behavior. And insiders say Joanna is not rushing to patch things up anytime soon. With tensions running high and Blake dealing with her own personal and legal battles, it's safe to say this friendship is on ice. Will they ever make up? Or is this just the beginning of Hollywood's latest messy fallout? We gotta wait and see. Speaking of fallout, however, Blake is experiencing one at the moment, and it's not because of the hotel. Blake has been all over the internet lately, and it's because of this multi-million-dollar lawsuit that she's found herself caught up in. Ever since she decided to fight her former co-star Justin legally, well, let's just say her rep has been tanking like crazy. One of the very first things that started making rounds ever since Blake is out here getting dragged again, this time by Kirsty Flaw, that lady who just tried to do her job, and Blake, well, she tried to make her life hell for no reason whatsoever. Kirsty has been holding on to receipts since 2016, and now that the internet is finally clocking Blake's behavior, she felt safe enough to spill the tea. And let's just say, the streets are shaking! So let's rewind to 2016. Kirsty was interviewing Blake during a press junket when she casually told her, "Congratulations on your bump." Simple enough, right? Well, Blake immediately snapped back with, "Congratulations on your bump," basically calling Kirsty pregnant when she wasn't. Like, why?
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
Kirsty later revealed that this moment was so humiliating it made her consider quitting journalism altogether. And when she finally posted the clip in August, instead of taking accountability, Blake accused her of working for Justin Baldoni. Sheesh. But that ain't even the end of it. Kirsty has interviewed Blake twice, and let's just say, the vibes, not giving America's sweetheart. Apparently, during one interview, Blake made Kirsty's boyfriend, who's also a journalist, chug gin at 9 a.m., and she's even been caught on camera asking male reporters to take their shirts off. So, double standards much. Now that Kirsty's video is going viral, other people who've worked with Blake are coming forward. Interns, makeup artists, hairstylists, assistant directors. All of them are saying the same thing. Blake wasn't just having a bad day. She has a pattern of being dismissive, rude, and making people uncomfortable.
They were just completely ignoring me. If you watch this clip I'm going to show you, I think it's about 1.5 minutes long, Blake Lively does not look at me one single time until the end.
So you might be asking yourself, why didn't people speak up sooner? Well, here's where it gets messy. A lot of people wanted to call Blake out before, but they were too afraid. And why? Because Blake and her very famous husband have power. If you work in Hollywood and say something bad about them, your career could vanish overnight. But now that people are finally speaking up, Blake is out here playing the victim, acting like all this backlash is just because she spoke out against harassment. Kirsty, however, isn't buying it. And honestly, neither are we. Over the weekend, Kirsty was interviewed by the Daily Mail, and it was a whole spread exposing Blake's mean girl antics. The headline, "My Encounter from Hell with Blake Lively." The tea is that over 20 people have now shared their own stories about Blake's shady behavior. And at this point, it's looking like a pattern. But it all really starts with her mom, who had a reputation for being super demanding and entitled on set. Blake grew up watching her mom treat people poorly, and it looks like she learned from the best. A crisis PR expert told me that Blake's behavior is all about entitlement. She expects everyone to treat her like royalty, and if you're not on her level, why bother? What's really interesting is how Blake reacts to criticism. She seems to deflect blame and accuses others of working against her. It's like she can't handle the fact that people might not love her as much as she loves herself. And honestly, it's hard to trust her side of the story when she's so quick to point fingers at others. The situation reminds some people of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp's messy divorce, but let's be real, those two are in a whole different league. Blake just can't seem to let things go and move on quietly. She keeps making things worse with her PR stunts, like that time she made donuts for fans in Connecticut right after a big article came out. It feels super desperate. The real issue here is that Blake's behavior is getting more attention than her actual allegations against Justin. And while speaking out against harassment is important, it's hard to take her seriously when she's being so dramatic about everything else. Maybe it's time for her to take a step back and focus on her own actions rather than trying to deflect blame onto others. Mistakes made. What really seems to bother people about Blake's response to these articles is that instead of actually addressing the criticism, she's spinning it into something it's not. A lot of the people calling her out don't even care about the lawsuit itself. They've had valid complaints about her based on their interactions with her, things she said in interviews, or just her overall behavior. But rather than acknowledge any of that, she's making it all about harassment, even when the criticism has nothing to do with that. She could have just apologized, something simple like, "I'm really sorry I made Kirsty feel bad," or "I'm sorry I falsely accused Justin and dragged him into this lawsuit." But no, instead, she's doubling down, playing the victim, and making it seem like this is some sort of personal attack. Looking at the lawsuits and all the documents, the power imbalance between Blake, Ryan, and the other parties involved is obvious. And when you compare this situation to other cases where victims have spoken out against celebrities, whether it's about harassment or misconduct, there's always a pattern. The victims get criticized, discredited, or outright blamed. That's the bigger conversation society should be having. Not just how victims get treated, but why justice is so hard to get in cases like these. It's almost always a he said, she said situation, which is why some people now feel like Blake is someone you just can't be alone with. If anyone has to deal with her, they need witnesses or recordings, just to be safe. One of the trickier parts of this whole case is the situation with the intimacy coordinator from It Ends With Us. Apparently, Justin had to go over notes about a certain scene with Blake, and some feel like those conversations should have never happened in private. Having a producer or another woman from the team there as a buffer might have prevented a lot of issues. Even though Blake claimed she didn't want to be involved in the planning, it almost seems like she's now using that to set a trap, flipping the narrative to make Justin look bad. At the end of the day, though, this probably isn't going to trial. It wouldn't benefit either of them. Right now, Blake is facing the most backlash, but if something were to come out about Justin that paints him in a bad light, public opinion could shift in an instant. And that's something Blake doesn't seem to understand. She keeps doubling down, thinking people hate her because of some narrative Justin supposedly planted, when really, she's just making things worse for herself. If she really wanted to fix her reputation, she'd stop posting, stop doing public appearances, and stop making her outings into PR moments. If she's truly in pain and suffering, then she should act like it, stay low, and handle things privately. At this point, the constant damage control is only making things worse. Either lay low or drop the case, but she can't keep doing both. Speaking of the lawsuit, this is where we stand right now. The lawsuit between Justin and Blake has sparked heated debate, with serious allegations on both sides. What started as on-set tension during the filming of It Ends With Us has escalated into a legal battle involving claims of harassment, defamation, and extortion. Blake filed a complaint with the California Civil Rights Department, accusing Justin of creating a hostile work environment. Her allegations included instances of unwanted behavior during filming, discussions about inappropriate topics, and making her uncomfortable on set. She also claimed that after speaking out, Justin and his associates attempted to discredit her through a smear campaign. Her lawsuit, officially filed in December 2024, details specific incidents where she reportedly felt harassed, including objections to certain discussions and behaviors that she found inappropriate. In response, Justin filed a $400 million lawsuit against Blake, her husband Ryan, and their publicist Leslie Sloan. He accused Lively of defamation and extortion, alleging that she fabricated the harassment claims as a way to manipulate the film's narrative and shift blame for poor marketing decisions. His legal team has argued that Blake's actions were driven by frustration over her public image and the film's reception. Additionally, Justin filed a lawsuit against the New York Times, accusing the publication of libel and misrepresenting the situation in their coverage of Lively's allegations. With both lawsuits moving forward, the case has become a high-stakes battle that could impact both parties' careers. Supporters on each side have weighed in, with some seeing Blake's claims as part of a broader discussion about power dynamics in Hollywood, while others believe Justin is fighting back against what he considers a wrongful attack on his character. The outcome remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: this case is about more than just a legal dispute. It's a reflection of the ongoing challenges in the entertainment industry, where personal and professional conflicts can quickly turn into public scandals.
Do you think it's going to end up in court?
Honestly, a lot of people ask me this question, and honestly, I think it will. And I'll tell you why. It's because both of them are so strong in their opinions about what happened. They're very forward in all of it. So both of them are saying, this is what happened. You're lying. I will prove it. They both claim to have the receipts. And so I don't think there will be a settlement because it's so much about public opinion about them and their reputation.
The drama between Blake and Justin just keeps getting messier, and public opinion is all over the place. At first, Blake had a wave of support when she came forward with her allegations, but once Justin hit back with his own lawsuit, the tide started turning. People noticed the shift, too. Blake lost a bunch of followers while Justin gained some, which says a lot about how the narrative is changing. That being said, legal experts aren't convinced Justin's got this in the bag. They point out that his lawsuit doesn't really shut down Blake's claims, especially the ones about unwanted advances and inappropriate comments. If those allegations hold up, she could have a solid case. But let's be real, this battle isn't just happening in court. It's playing out on social media too. Everyone's picking sides and the debates are getting heated. At the end of the day though, what people think online doesn't decide the verdict. This won't even make it to court. Most big celebrity lawsuits end in a settlement to avoid dragging things out and risking more damage to their reputations. So while a lot of the public seems to be siding with Justin right now, legal insiders still think Blake's case has weight. Either way, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. What are your thoughts on this case? Do you think they will settle before the trial comes up? Let's discuss in the comments.